Okay. I'm calling the meeting of the North Whidbey Park and Recreation District Board to order. It is the 7th of September. It is 6:22 p.m. First order of business, selection of a new board member. Does anyone feel the need to go into executive session? We only had one applicant. No. Then we are open for motions on this topic. Commissioner Hoffmeyer.
You got the name wrote down there? I motion that we appoint Michael J. Frosch as a board member for the North Whidbey Parks and Recreation District.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that Michael J. Frosch take the position 2 on the board of directors. Discussion.
I would just like to say that I appreciate his willingness to serve, and 2, I had no idea that this meshes well with his area of study as he expressed in his letter, and I think it's great. I think
amazing.
It's wonderful. So,
I think so,
I'm really excited about it.
I am too. I think I'm very happy to have somebody who is very interested in Clover Valley Dog Park on the board. I think that'll be a good fit. Commissioner Ford?
No,
Do you have any comments?
I concur with everything said. I'm very excited, and I think he's going to be a very good fit.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded Michael J. Frosch be appointed as the commissioner for position 2 on the board. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No. So unanimously agreed to. Unanimous. All right. So we need to get in touch with him as soon, and if we could just do it at the next regular board meeting. First order of business will be he gets signed in, sworn in, whatever.
Okay.
I think that'll work. All righty.
Madam Chair, just a point of order. My assumption is that I am doing the.
Oh, I'm sorry, you weren't here. I'm doing it because I'm next and I just don't think I will do it. Thank you.
Okay.
You'll be next.
Okay. All right.
I just think my job as chairman is not that onerous for me. However, next order of business, we're going to elect a chairman, and that person may feel like they don't want to do it or can't do it. So I thought about this, and it's like, is there anybody who doesn't want the position so that we don't nominate somebody who doesn't want it? If somebody doesn't want it, say so.
I would rather not, personally.
Okay. Otherwise, okay, that's it. So the chair, we are now open for nominations on this topic then, or motions on the topic.
So we need a motion before discussion, huh?
Yes.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
I move to nominate. Nominate Commissioner Hawley for the position of chair. Now, I guess the question. Sorry,
Second.
I'll go back. Okay, thank you. There we go.
I know.
I'll wait for discussion. Sorry,
Okay.
I know. I can't help it.
Can we do discussion now then?
Yes.
You know, I go back to a decision that I had made 6 months ago to motion a nomination for you as chair. And I knew you'd be good at it, and I've been very impressed over the last couple months with you.
Well, thank you.
And I would really appreciate it if you would continue to do it.
I will be here's my comment on it.
Sounds like we've got the majority.
I'm happy. I actually have been comfortable. I was uncomfortable the first time I had to do it. I've been very comfortable doing it. I don't mind doing it. It's not onerous at all, in my opinion. So it's been moved and seconded that Commissioner Hawley be the chair for the rest of this year.
That actually wasn't part of the text. That was what I was trying to say for discussion, because I was. So I guess that would be the default then, because typically we're supposed to elect at the beginning of the year.
Yes.
We did it differently 2 years ago.
Oh, how did
right, wrong, or indifferent when we had a resignation in November. But I think it's a good practice. I think it's a good practice to stay the way that we're supposed to do, which is by calendar year.
Okay, so do you want to make a change to your motion then?
Yes,
Okay.
Madam Chair, I amend my motion to include through the remainder of 2016.
Second?
Okay. So, it's been moved and seconded that Commissioner Holly will take the position of chairman for the remainder of 2016. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Unanimous. Okay. Now, because I have been elected chair, we have to elect a vice chair to fill my position.
Madam Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
since that's actually not on the agenda, is it something that we
Oh.
can do right now? Because I don't believe that we can. So I believe that would need
You're
to
right.
be, that would need to wait
Thank
for the
you.
regular meeting. Sorry.
Thank you. No,
It
you're
was very
exactly
specific,
correct. You're
so-
exactly correct.
Okay.
Take care of the rest of the officers at the next regular meeting or something, huh?
Well, we could elect a secretary, except we forgot. Oh, sorry. All right. Right, now we are moving on to the next topic. We are going to go into executive section to discuss the executive director performance review. Did everyone read what I sent out?
Yes,
Did anyone have severe problems with what I sent out?
not at all. It looked-
Because, I think we'll go in, have like 5 minutes of executive session. Oh, wait a minute. You want executive session to talk about it, don't you?
No one here, you can do executive.
I know, executive session will turn off the recorder. So,
Well, yes.
okay,
My debrief has to be an executive session.
yes. It doesn't have to be, but it's your choice, and I would
Well,
absolutely.
it typically would be.
It should be. Okay, so I'm thinking it's 6:28 now. I think if we give ourselves, because we can go longer, we just can't go shorter. I would think 15 minutes would do it. 20 minutes,
I think 15.
15. Let's schedule for 15 minutes. So we will resume no earlier than 6:45. Now going into executive session. Oh, based on sorry, I forgot to put what the deal was.
All pertinent RCWs, huh?
I do carry these around. It- RCW 42.30.110, paragraph.
G, I think.
Negotiations. G, paragraph G, to evaluate the review the performance of a public employee. All right. To hit. We're back in session, out of executive summary session. It is 7:24 p.m., same day.
Madam
So,
Chair.
yeah.
I move that we extend to Executive Director McCaslin 20 hours of executive leave through the remainder of 2016.
A second?
For discussion, yes, second.
It's been moved and seconded that we extend to Executive Director McCaslin 20 additional hours of executive leave? Executive leave. Discussion.
How
Yeah,
many hours will that bring the total to?
40.
for the year.
That's it?
Yeah.
I don't know, I keep holding my hand up because I think we should basically get recognized before you talk.
Oh, that's fine. I'm sorry I wasn't looking because
Yeah.
I'm taking notes, but
But anyway, so.
go.
What's the rationale for the 20, 40 hours per annually for executive leave? I'm not quite sure, in addition to vacation and sick time and all that. I'm not quite sure what that time is for, unless it's for like coming to meetings and extra overtime, stuff like that. But you're sort of like on an independent schedule. You can take a 2-hour lunch break if you want and make up some of the time. I'm not sure. So what is the reason for the 20-hour executive leave or 40 hours executive leave annually?
Madam Chair.
Please answer.
Since we extended it, a part of the original request when we did salary negotiations was above and beyond what we were able to provide, and there were other benefits requested that we felt unable to provide, and so this was a way of providing additional time off based on.
Well, it's money spent. I mean, I don't understand how you're still spending money.
We're not spending any additional money.
You're not?
It's just time that he is not at the office.
Oh,
that
okay.
Otherwise, he would be.
Okay, well,
It's
all
comp
right.
time. It's,
Well, then
I mean, if you will,
yeah.
it's
Well,
comp
then it's
time.
exactly what I was talking about. You can take two, yeah, exactly, 2 hours of lunch and count that as an hour of executive. Okay, I didn't understand. I thought it was 40 hours additional pay.
No.
No, and that's, this was a way of compensating him for the
I can't
days.
carry it over,
Yeah.
one year to the next. It
Yeah, I saw
starts
that, yeah.
fresh again.
Okay, thank you. All right, thank you for clarifying.
Anyway.
Yeah.
I misunderstood.
Cool.
Any other discussion? All right, it's been moved and seconded that we will extend 20 additional hours of executive leave to Executive Director McCaslin for a total of 40 hours for the year.
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. All right, next topic, we're going to have a budget review and the mid-year budget revision. Mr. McCaslin and I discussed it earlier, and we could probably be more economical with our time if we just united all into one budget revision, because the review
Here.
is the revision, or the revision is the
I
review.
agree, I
Does that make
Yep.
sense to everybody? And I think we will get everything out in the open, so.
How long do you think that might take?
My talking part is probably about 20, 25
And-
minutes,
and-
and it depends on questions.
And you didn't bring copies of those, the budget, because I mean, the budget revision.
We can make,
I would like to have had a copy, because I didn't have one. I mean, I read it, but I don't, my printing
I
machine's
just
not
won't be able to
working.
reference something
Oh.
there, so I might have to peek at some of these.
What? Do you need to make copies?
no,
Actually,
he gave him his copy.
I
Do you-
know. but-
Did you bring one, or do you need one?
It'd be nice to see another one real quick. Yeah, sorry.
That's why
You
maybe.
have the revision?
I do, I have the one that yes.
Wait a minute, was there a
One that's
different?
landscaped.
Yes, I do, yes, I do.
Landscape.
Yes.
So
Oh, yeah, that was good.
Okay.
Thanks
I'll
for
print one.
putting it that way in the computer.
I seen it, but on my phone and on my tablet, I wanted to.
Do we need
keep
to have
spinning.
them print stuff out for you before the meeting and have it available for you?
Yeah.
We will
I
have
would
that,
like-
I'll make that
Okay,
happen.
thank you, yeah.
Well, that's actually why I have it, was because
Yeah.
I think it would be nice if we said, hey, let's print the materials by this time and we can come pick them up, and then you're responsible for them. Because that's where I make notes on separate pieces of paper, and it would be nice to have them integrated.
Yeah.
So that would be great for me too, because like, one of these was upside down, and perhaps I just lacked the technical
Yeah,
savvy.
true,
but
I had
was
to
like,
sort of put my head sideways and kind of read the whole thing.
Yeah, that would be
One was
great process
upside down,
change,
I
though.
thought.
Okay. Do you want it done, like when they put it online, say, also print out the copies, and we have
let
little
us-
folders up front, so.
Just,
Yeah, that'd
yeah,
be
they could just
great.
let us know when they're ready.
Yep.
You know, or whatever, that'd be
Perfect.
fantastic.
You can just email me. When they're ready.
Send you a text on your non-smartphone.
In my flip phone?
Okay,
Do you know Morse code, Commissioner Holly?
of course I do. I know semaphore, for
See,
gosh
there we
sakes.
go.
I was a
So
C
there-
sport.
I don't even know what that is. but-
It's flags.
Oh, okay.
We competed
I
in
didn't
it.
know that was an, oh, I didn't even know that was,
Da, da,
I didn't know
da.
there was a name for that.
Yeah, no, it's semaphore.
I love it.
Can I say one thing before we get started? Is that okay?
About the budget?
About the meeting in general, but yes.
Okay,
Assuming that most of us aren't, we're not the 55-hour-a-week policy and money wonk that he has with this job. So I don't think that this would change the outcome. If nobody would be too horribly offended, I would like to ask that I be excused at 7:40.
we still have, that's fine.
Okay.
I got your uncle. If you don't need to be here, we still have a quorum, so we'll be okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for
Thank you.
asking.
Yes.
All right,
Order?
over to you.
Okay, well, I appreciate that, and so my intent every year is to visit any necessary revisions to the budget. No matter what budget we approve in October, November, and submit for the following year, it's not gonna go the way we plan it, because stuff happens out there, and we can't foresee everything that can occur. Upon reflection, as I was preparing for tonight, I thought to myself, I'm gonna give you a Q2 review. I'm gonna turn around and give a mid-year revision, and it's the same information. It's basically, there are a couple, the slant is a little different, but the information's gonna be the same. And so that's when I asked Commissioner Hawley if I could combine these two. And still, if there's a question that you had on one and it didn't get addressed in the other, I still feel the question, that's not the issue. But my plan going forward in the mid-year revision is it's a mid-year revision / second or first half review, Q2 review. So just like I did with the Q1 review back in April, I'd like to just run through this and then let you guys ask questions at the end. So if you hold those, it'll save a little bit of time, and I'll still address any concerns you have. I'll stay here all night if you want to. And as a little preamble, and I said this before, but I'm going to say it again. This is a 3 to 5 year turnaround. When I got hired, I knew that this, in general, a business starting or business turning around, it's 3 to 5 years in general. Some longer, some get lucky and get it done quicker. I just don't see us getting lucky and get it done quicker unless one of my senior patrons dies and I'm in the will, frankly. But I don't see that happening either.
Keep working on that.
I'll keep working on it
That
for
could be
sure.
a goal. Just
That's a
kidding.
goal. That's a soft goal.
You know.
So after 10 months of discovery, and the word's important because this has been a huge discovery here, I don't have any reason to believe anything different on my original assessment, 3 to 5 years. And as I explained earlier, turning it around really means we're financially stable enough now to take a course forward for the district, including the community, the board, and us there. So in my view, the first step in this, though, is getting the budget process and execution tightened up. That's the first step to getting the finances going, is getting this process and execution tightened up. So with that said, every year there will be a revision. My goal is, as the years go on, the revisions become smaller and smaller as I start to get more of a handle on the things that I don't know. There are lots of things in here. So right up front, in my role as the executive director, I'm the one who's responsible for the budget. So I accept that responsibility. How did this budget for 2016 come around? I started on November 11th, and on day one, for the next 5 to 6 working days, I pulled the staff away from their jobs. We sat in here for one or 2 days, one day for sure, 4 hours, and we went through it. We were under a huge time crunch, as Commissioner Hawley and Commissioner Shingleton will recall. We didn't have much time. There was Thanksgiving vacation coming up. There was only one more board meeting, unless you guys called a special one. And I believe rightly so, that the commission in place last year wanted this to be their job to pass and not pass it on to the next commission to get done, which is what would have had to happen, because 2 of you would have been, on hiatus for 6 weeks vacation during it, and not been able to do it. So we worked hard on it, and whenever I presented it, I believed it was a good budget. I still believe it is a good budget, but it's not the budget that it needs to be next year, or the year after, or the year after. So understand that. But here's what I've learned. I know budgeting, and federal, governmental, commercial, I know that stuff really well. Budgeting isn't really rocket science. If you can manage a checkbook, you can manage a budget for the most part. But each industry has its own peculiarities and its own subtleties, and that's where the discovery comes. So while I spent a lot of time winning IT contracts for a company back in the DC area, IT contracts are similar, but they're so much different in the way labor is done here than there, that it gave me enough to know that I could see things were different. So I've learned a lot of that. I will continue to learn. I've learned a lot of that in the last 10 months. And because of what I've learned, the budget process and preparation for 2017 will be, I'm hoping for Commissioner Hawley and Shingleton, who were there, it'll be so much clearer what we're presenting that there will be fewer questions, and then 2018 should get better, and then 2019, where we get to the point where the mid-year revision is, hopefully we're down to, a couple things here and there that aren't there. So I share that goal with you to get there, because I own this, and I take pride in what I do, and I want to make sure these go. So each year, all things being equal, it should get better. A quick preface, some of the things you see on here is reduced or increased based on whatever, revenue or cost. A lot of those things are things that I took money away from because we need help on budget. And I had to make hard decisions to pull money back from things to get there. So understand, when you have this to read, you go, oh, increase based on projected revenues. What does that mean? Well, it means, a lot of them, that's what that means. I pulled money away to put it somewhere else that needed it. So I'm going to jump into the revenue side of it right now. At the end of the first half, Q2, we're at about 49% of projected revenues right now. And that is the levy and then what we call the programmatic revenue out there. On the levy, we're at 54%, but that doesn't mean really anything. On the programmatic revenue, on the rest of it, we're about 49% of the projected revenues. While that's a good thing on the whole, there are a lot of areas of concern in there getting us through the rest of the year, and that's what I'm going to address and cover. So the levy, I had to adjust it down, and I'm going to go fast, and I'm not hitting everything because some of them are self-explanatory, but I'm hitting what I think are the highlights. So if I don't hit something, please remind me at the end, and we'll go back to it. The levy was over. We got a bad number from county. They caught it within a week after being approved. Everyone knew about it then. Also, that they paid us an extra $13,000 in the year, and we have to pay that back. I asked for it to be paid back over 3 or 4 years, but they would only give us 2 because the levy only ran another 2 years. So that was the reason for that. That results in about 17,000, almost 300 less in revenue, just coming from that right there. So you can see that's somewhat of a significant hit. The next thing that I want to hit on there does not have a line item, but it's going to when this is approved, and that's going to be Silver Sneakers. Silver Sneakers is a Medicare program rather, where seniors can come in here if they sign up for it. AARP has one called At Your Best, where they come in here and they basically they're paid for. So how does it work for us? They come in here, the plan only pays $20 a month per member that comes in here. We only have about 20 members on Silver Sneakers. What that is 8 visits. They pay $250 a visit, so it's 8 visits a month that they get to come in. And I can't stop them from coming in outside of that. It's in the contract. I can't stop them. So the way to rectify that will come whenever we talk in the program review subcommittee as we move down the road going to a tiered membership system, which a membership level this gets you this, a membership level that. It becomes modular add-ons to it. And then you can stop the bleeding. But one of them out there I know is Silver Sneakers. And that person can come in here every day if they want to, and I can't stop it. So you can imagine I'm losing a lot of money. Now, if we had a fitness center, it'd be easier. It wouldn't be so bad. It'd probably be good. And that's one of those things down the road that we want to come to, like a slide and other things out there. But I'm going to put a target on there. We're running about $200 a month from them, so I'm going to target about $2,400. So I have nowhere right in the moment to put that money. So that's why it's going to be created its own thing, its own line item. Punch cards and passes, those are lines 10 and 11 on the sheet you have there. Last October, before I was hired, you guys increased all the prices for the general admissions and things like that. And what that did, kind of what we expected, and we briefed when we presented the 16 budget, and also at the Q1 review, a lot of people in November, December purchased those things. So we haven't seen the sales on that this year like it was projected. again, I remember saying in the meeting, we don't know what it's going to do, so we're going to project what we had and then have to adjust as required. Also, I know at least 4 of our Silver Sneakers patrons were pass people, and when they found out about Silver Sneakers, they were, oh, hey, well, I don't have to pay that $460-something for a pass. I can just go here and not have to pay anything except my Silver Sneakers dues to whomever, United Healthcare or whoever does it. So they went there. So I lose money there. Now, I think what might happen, and we're going to bring some suggestions next week to the subcommittee review. So we have some ideas for that. I think what might happen is some of those people who bought their passes in November, December are going to find themselves having to do it again. And now that might get us the money back. How many that is, I don't know. I wish I could project it for you, but we believe that that's going to happen. I just wish I could give you a better feel for how many are going to do it. There's just no way for me to know that. So that I adjusted punch cards and passes. I basically reduced them 50% because I just didn't know any other thing to do. There was no way we would meet that target. And so again, in this discovery, I now know better ways to approach things, better questions to ask in the next one. So the next one on there, the American Red Cross class, is on line 13. We've done pretty well against what was budgeted there. We've actually gone over it. What we're doing is adding another lifeguard class, so I've increased that for the cost of the class, basically, is what I did. We're probably going to raise the cost of the class. For this one, it's going to go up $15. It might go up to $300 a class. When I do the calculation on what it costs, total number of instructor hours, total the lane time that it takes to do it, and all the costs that go into it there, our cost has to go up from where it is right now for lifeguard class. And so that's going to happen. Aerobics, line 14, aerobics is a huge mess. And this is another thing we're going to try and talk a little bit about next week at the meeting. But it's a huge mess because this is aerobics, by the way. Volleyball is aerobics. But I know at least one of them is Silver Sneakers. I don't know about the others. There's so many ways people can pay to come into aerobics. I mean, $5.50. I don't know. I probably get less than 10% of the people that pay full price for aerobics. And it's just a mess. They're highly attended. This is actually a light class. I have never in my time here seen less than usually 9 to 10 people minimum playing volleyball.
Really? Wow.
That they usually have people waiting.
Yeah.
In the morning. It's always well attended. But I'm not getting the money. I don't know what the money is. I don't know what I'm getting, and we have to figure that out and have to have it understood better so that next year's budget we can have a more accurate assessment of where we're going to be.
Do you think, I mean, you got less than $6,000 on 6 months, don't you think that maybe $12,000 would be a more reasonable revised budget item for that instead of almost $18,000?
I could pick any number, Commissioner. It would just be, it really would be a wag without us having sat down and done more assessment on it.
Okay. You're right that it's, unless someone specifically comes in and says, here it is. But is the 5881, is that a hard, that was definitely aerobic money?
Yeah, that's aerobics money.
Okay.
But I don't know how much aerobics money goes up into daily admission. And I don't know how much is Silver Sneakers.
Point of order here.
Yeah.
We agreed that we were not going to ask questions.
Sorry.
Okay. No, it's okay. I just wanted to.
Okay. All right, so anyway.
Can I add one thing?
Pardon?
Can I add one thing?
Sure.
Spent which an hour kind of.
Okay.
I hate to do this. It's not who I am actually, but I'm actually working on it. I always put work and business first, but I have some family in town that I haven't seen in 17 years, and it's quite possibly my last chance to do so. So I'm going to leave. I really hope that it doesn't affect your budget being approved, and I would be in support of voting for it on the 22nd as well. But I'm going to go ahead and go if that's okay.
It's okay. Go.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank
I
you.
will listen closely online.
All right, well, thank you for coming. See you
Yeah,
soon.
Absolutely. Thank you guys.
So we'll look for a Clover Valley Park meeting coming up soon, because we need that before the budget for 17 as well.
Awesome, thank you so much. Bye, guys.
Okay, anyway, aerobics is a hot mess. I don't even know if we can fix it the way it needs to be fixed, but we can certainly get it better than it is now, as you've already tried before as the subcommittee for the program review. Next are swim lessons on there, starting line 19. Overall, swim lessons were at 46% for the year, so that's not bad. I'm happy with 46% at the half. And remember, all these numbers are through June, they're not through now. But youth lessons are trailing way behind, and that's not good. So let me run through those right now.
Now, why is that? When we raise the price of private, and the private's gone up, and youth is, we have,
Well, this only reflects 1 month of the price of
Okay.
private. But my comment in here that I have written down to speak to is private lessons don't seem to have gotten hit by it. And I think a lot of people have kids going through level 3, 4, and 5 times. Our staff will not promote someone who's not ready to go to the next level, and the people just go, I need private lessons. I need him. I want him to get there, but he's not getting enough individual attention.
right.
So, whereas 6 months ago, 3 months ago, when we did the Q1 review, I would have been okay with getting rid of private lessons, and at the time, Erica would have too. But in retrospect, I'm glad I didn't jump on that, because private lessons are
Yeah, as long as it's generating a profit, I think that's great.
it's doing really well right now, and the $22, which is really break even for us, seems to be doing okay. So anyway, the first thing in there you'll see in line 16 are group lessons, and these are the schools. And this is one of those that I can't predict right now. I didn't change it, but I'm going to address it to you. Oak Harbor Elementary is only coming over January, February, March. Now, we've been talking to Lance and Steve King about trying to get more schools involved, and we're going to go hit some more of this. Jessica and I are going to go hit some more of the principals. But if none of them, and right now, I wouldn't have expected them to have committed yet to October anyway, but if we can't get anyone in there over the next October, November, December, that's a little over $2,200 in revenue I won't get. That number will come down to what you see as the actual right now, $1,782. It just, I won't reach that number.
So they get charged by the hour for showing up?
They are, yeah, they're charged. It's the school pays a bunch of it, and the parents pay like $7 per. So the school district foots the predominant amount of the bill for them.
But it covers the cost.
We cover cost on them. It's not the same price as swim school, but we cover cost.
Since we're changing the structure, I'm going to ask a question now. Hey, I'm not going to wait either then. But have we considered? No, we're all doing it. So let's choose one way or the other. I don't care. I don't know if he does, but have we considered middle school PE as there's a school right across the street? I just wonder if we've asked the question.
Yes and no. We've considered it, but we're trying to get the elementary third graders to tie into the water safety course, which we don't deliver to the middle school. But
Just it's a thought. Park
it doesn't
it.
mean that we can't move up to that.
That's a good
And
point.
isn't there an organization for homeschoolers that
Yeah.
maybe you could have an organized
Okay.
Home
once a
Connections.
week? Yeah, talk to them, because wouldn't the school district
As long
pay
as
for
there's
them to
enough-
do stuff like
enough-
that, or?
Enough to
Well, we
come in
have-
at one time.
They have to talk.
We have a program we have talked with Shane Evans over at Home Connections, and he announced it on Tuesday to his people, and in the afternoon right now, we have a slot if they choose to use it, that they can come in and do it, and they get charged the same that the school district gets charged. So, but there are probably, I would say, roughly 5 to 8 families that come here for private lessons or group lessons in the middle of the day, because they don't have anything to do, who are happy that this may come, whether that turns into them actually doing it. And
Right.
that would make that number come up too,
And
by
if
the
it was
way.
too expensive for them, well, why couldn't they come in with the other school classes, one of the other school classes come in?
It might be a time thing.
Oh,
And
okay.
the other school class comes in, it's their PE time. So
Well, I
it's-
understand.
that's, and
It
those are the
works out,
instructions we
works
have.
out.
Okay, private swim lessons, we've talked enough about. Youth swim lessons. I was told that this summer would be so hectic and chaotic
Yeah.
that it would be, we would just have money rolling out of it. We wouldn't be able, we'd have to take to the bank twice a day. I'm exaggerating, but it didn't happen.
Yeah, other years they've made a lot of money, so.
It
I
had,
don't think you've
we've
gotten
done
the turn-
okay, but I have not seen what I was told
You
I would
haven't gotten the
see.
turnout I think you got in previous years, have you?
Not this year.
Yeah.
And I looked at the numbers for previous years, and it's not there this year.
Yeah.
And I don't know why. There may be a lot of reasons. It could be the price hike. It could have had a small impact. So last night, as I do, or yesterday and last night, as I do the first day of swim school, I'm out here greeting the people when they come in, and I help the front desk because it can back up a long way. So, oh, if you already paid, good. Go on in. You know where to go? Yeah, go over there where it says number 2 on the wall, on the thing over there, and you hang there, and it's Jessica is your instructor. She'll come get you. I try to help out, get it in there. So I asked them. I said, hey, and some of them I remember, some of them I don't. Hey, we didn't see you all summer. What happened? Oh, the weather was just too nice this summer. I had 5 people, no less than 5 people. The weather was too nice to come to the pool.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
That makes sense.
So that was 5 people and maybe more. So I've adjusted that, we've adjusted that number down because I just don't know that we would have made the original number there. Okay. As also, Jessica will continue hitting the 2nd, 3rd grade. She'll hit any grade in elementary school that wants it. And like Erica, she went with Erica last year. Erica probably touched, figuratively, she guesses 1,700 to 1,800 people, 1,800 students. So, and we just got asked today to do a water safety thing at Home Depot on October 1st. So we're going to be part of that. They have something out there, and I don't know what it is. Jessica's going to talk to the girl, and we're going to figure it out. We're going to go over there on October 1st, and we're going to sit out there and try and
They won't
mark
have a
it.
little pool out there, will they?
Yeah, that's probably what they might do.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Could have done it a little warmer time of the year, but that's
Okay. All right, the next one is the NWAC Travel Family Fund Fee, line item 21. So originally this was calculated for 44 swimmers, and we only had 38. Although I will tell you that there's been a nice uptick in new people. Coach thinks we're at 48 or 49 right now.
Wow.
And these are new people. These aren't returnees. These are new people, and we've kept all but one who we knew was moving from the last season. So and we haven't even the pamphlets, the brochures, the marketing brochures are in Portland, Oregon, being shipped up here right now. We haven't even gone out and marketed it yet because we don't have the brochures to go around to the schools. He went around to every school, Coopville and in here, every school, not just. He went to every school, Christian school, and only one of them said, "Bring us 50 copies." One said, we'll do it email. We'll email it to everyone. All the others were, bring as many as you want, and we'll get them into the hands of all the kids. So, hoping that helps them there. The bottom line here, even though we have about 5 families that are multiple, and when it was passed, those families only pay $12 max for the family fee, and so that's somewhat of an impact. I've in no uncertain terms told Coach, although I believe that what we bring in will cover the deficit right now. I have no reason to think it won't by the end of the year. Joanne and I are going to calculate this hard. He will not be given money past what is brought in, regardless if it reaches 4,000 or not.
Okay.
But so he will not be given money for travel, and he will have to figure it out.
Well, that was the agreement last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was, and I wanted you to understand. All year long, I was looking at 4,000, and I wasn't even thinking anything of it. And then all of a sudden, whenever it came up in discussion, I went, "Oh, wait a minute," because I thought, well, hell, we're not going to have a problem making 4,000. He's probably only going 3,200, and we'll come out okay on that. And because last year he did 32, but he's traveled more this year. The team's doing more meets than it's ever done in a while. But ultimate bottom line, he will not be reimbursed or anything past what is brought in. And so I do know that we're only about 1,000 different right now, roughly 1,000. That I can make up in the next few months with the $750 travel fee. We're going to keep a close eye on that.
Okay.
That is different though than how it was originally intended.
Yes.
Okay, so the word deficit, I mean, there was never supposed to be a deficit. And that was part of the concern, in some ways, was, are we sure we're managing? And I think that's been shared by every person, and I'm not trying to speak for Commissioner Hoffmeyer, but that was one of the concerns, was just to say, we're managing it differently than, and I don't remember how specific the language was, but I think it was pretty specific in the motion. And so I just want to be sure that we're doing our best to honor
Do you remember the
that.
month that was that in October last year?
I think it was either I think it was
It was before I
October or
started.
no, okay, then it was probably in October.
You know,
Yeah.
I'll go back
Okay.
and look at the motion and that right there and make sure, and then I'll take the onus that it wasn't done right. I just was assuming, okay, we're gonna get $4,000, assuming no changes, you're not gonna exceed 4,000 in travel.
That's why
And-
it'd be nice to have those minutes posted.
And it was in,
on
I'm
the-
sorry.
It'd
Well-
be nice to have those minutes aren't posted. December's wasn't posted, no.
For
November-
2015,
Yep,
it's not up there now?
nope. December's not up there, no.
Do you mean the written minutes?
The written minutes, yeah, the minutes, I think there's only like 3 or 4 months of minutes for 2015 in there.
The written minutes aren't on the website.
All right, I mean,
Well,
I thought I know you'd mentioned a couple of them, and I thought we'd gotten them up. I didn't know that
I
there
thought,
were.
got 'em up for
I thought somebody told me
2015.
they had all been put up, because I have them all.
No.
Right.
You know,
and
so-
So PS, you can send an email just asking someone to send them to you, by the way.
Well, I know,
If
but I
you-
think.
Yeah,
Okay.
but no, they,
I know.
I agree.
You're
It's my
exactly correct. They
responsibility to
should-
put them up there,
I-
so
right.
I'll do that.
No, I don't disagree with that.
Okay.
But, and I don't think anybody's trying to pull the wool over anybody's eyes here. It
Yeah.
just, it was,
No, but it just
it was
helps
very
for what was
specific.
said when, that's the whole point of minutes.
Right, right.
Well, I have hard copies of them up there, so anyone can come read them.
Right.
I can just go look there. There's a quick shot, but
Oh,
yeah.
okay. So, yeah, it's looking at something.
Uh,
I think that was sort of part of what somebody was grumbling about here sometime in the past.
Oh, yeah.
One of the,
Mr. Charkoff.
right.
I will send them all to you.
Okay, and I'll make sure that Julie gets those looked up.
Okay.
Okay, next, line 22 are the NWAC lockers. They never really were ours. They were purchased by a previous Boosters Club and just left.
They're the ones in the back wall?
Yes.
Mhm.
So I have given those back to the Boosters Club. They're theirs now, and they can do what they want with them. And
So we won't have any income.
they never were ours to begin with.
They are ours. They're taking up space in our locker room.
And then-
And how often have you told me, NWAC is a program of the district. So nothing is theirs. It's they belong to the district. And so it's just weird to me that in 6 months, you got $25 rental. So obviously, nobody's paying their fee for
I
locker
don't think
rental.
anyone's using them.
Then, you know,
Yeah, there's only
then if no one's using them, they should be open for everybody to use them.
Well, then that would keep people from using, so right now, they've, I think it started back when Bill Walker said, they put like latches in there so that you can't come in with your own locker, lock and use those lockers instead of the paid lockers.
Oh.
I will offer that I don't want them.
Okay.
Because that's a maintenance issue that I don't want to have to deal with, because when they break, I don't want to have to worry about it. I'll let them worry about it, and they're not renting them, and they're not going to get anything out of them hardly, so to me, it's out of my hair.
Yeah.
And we just spent, if you want to go up there and look, we spent one day rekeying all the locks in there, so.
All the regular
All the regular
lockers?
locks,
Okay.
because we didn't touch the other ones there. So my recommendation is we don't want those.
You rekeyed all of them?
Yeah, we rekeyed all of them. All the ones that didn't have keys.
Oh, okay.
All the ones that didn't have keys. There were a lot of them.
Yeah, in the big picture of the NWAC team, I don't think $250 is a big deal, one way or the other.
It's not, but I've always thought the lockers should, I didn't realize they were broken and stuff.
But I agree with you, with your sort of the concept that just because they buy something, it automatically belongs to them.
Yeah.
If they buy it for the pool, it's the pool.
Those are our lane markers.
Yeah,
Yeah,
those are ours now.
yeah,
So-
okay, all right,
Yeah, they're just donated by them, that's all.
okay, yeah, that's
But
what I
those
was.
were purchased by a previous NWAC Boosters Club for the NWAC. They weren't
Yeah, okay.
purchased for the district, so.
Okay, all right.
To me, it makes no sense to own them and own the maintenance tail on it.
But I would think that hopefully then, okay, accepting that, even if I disagree, accepting that, we would be, I would hope that we would be slightly more careful in the future, that we don't accept gifts with conditions. I would hope that
Yes.
that's the case.
No, I
Okay.
agree. No, I agree
Okay.
with you.
That's,
I
and
agree
so
with
it's
you.
just a clarification moving
Yeah,
forward.
they donated the lane lines. They are not the NWAC lane
Right.
lines anymore. They donated those flags. And with a clean pool, that place looks like it's a brand new pool almost. But
correct.
those are district property now. They are not NWAC. The
Correct.
lockers never really, they were purchased and then sort of abandoned and sort of assimilated by the Borg, if you will. You've dragged on people.
And again, I think there's still district property, but you can just say that, I mean, you know, they can maintain them and they can collect the fees.
Yeah.
And, you know, in the big picture of things of NWAC subsidy, I don't think that's not a major issue for me.
Okay.
I mean,
All right, line-
40,000.
So line 25, meat fees collected. I've increased that up because there'll be some more meats that they're gonna go to. They've gone to more meats. Although you'll see there was about a $67 error between collected and brought in. And that was a software error by the point of sale terminal that actually refunded a family their dues and their meat fees instead of charging them.
Oh.
And it's a low-income family, so they're paying it back over time. And we talked with the manufacturer of the terminal, and they have made it where that error cannot occur again.
Thank you.
So is it just a mistake though that the original budget said 8,000 for the income, and the expense was going to be 6,000? Shouldn't
Yes, it
those
should have
numbers
been the
should
same.
be
It should have
okay?
been the same, yes.
And you corrected that; they're both now 10,000.
Yes,
So.
and I was baffled why I let that go through, but
Okay. Well, nobody noticed apparently, including us.
Have we clarified, I know I asked you this question personally, but so for 25 and 26, not to get it too far ahead, but for people who pay via card, which would then, we would pay a fee on, are we uplifting such that pass-through numbers we are not losing money on?
Good point.
Awesome point.
I mean, it's,
Yeah, credit card
it's
too.
at least a few $100s.
Yeah, well,
Exactly.
They charge 2 or 3% or more.
3%?
It's somewhere around there. I don't know. I mean, he would have to tell us
Oh.
exactly.
Yeah, a lot of places won't accept credit cards for that reason.
yeah, that's true. I do remember the question, and I have not done anything
Okay.
about it yet, so.
I'm gonna write that down. Question. Take that as an action item.
Mhm. I will investigate it and come back with what we're gonna do or what we are doing or whatever.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Good question.
Okay. Next is meat host revenue. That I've adjusted down. The spring meet was a small meet. It was the first time we've done one. And I remember this when we were planning it. Oh, we can make about 2,500, 3,000 a meet out there. And revenue. I mean,
Yep.
the profit wouldn't be that, but the revenue would be that. And oh, okay, yeah, let's do for that. But now, after having gone through that cycle once, it should never have been that way. It's the first time.
Yeah.
The first time you do a meet.
Over optimism.
Yeah. So it was well received. I think our reputation, and we talked about this one of the meetings, came back up. But I've adjusted down. We're getting ready for the Halloween meet, and it looks like we might have a Canada team coming.
Wow.
So, well, that's good for Canada because it's a meters pool and they're a meters country. So now they get an international meters thing that they can still use toward their stuff. So, all right, line item 35 is the running club. It's not in there this year, so I removed all of that. So we don't have that. Surplus sales is something that we're going to talk about the next meeting. I left it in there at the thing.
What number are we on?
That's item
Oh, I see.
42. 42.
Okay, got it.
42, sorry. We can't make a decision tonight because it wasn't what we were talking about.
Yeah,
but
I think
we'll-
that's an overestimation.
but we'll talk about that on the 22nd. That's part of the agenda item for the 22nd.
Well, but are we going to be asked to approve a budget or approve a revision this evening, potentially? Is that our goal?
That's the goal. However, you could say, we'll approve it pending a couple of things on the 22nd, which takes like 10 minutes perhaps, and You know, there might be some information I need to bring back about what it's gonna look like or something. And that's up to you guys.
Anything on it.
Or I could just remove the entire thing because,
Yeah, I would.
so I won't go into it, it's not the topic tonight, so. All right, viewing room rental number 48. As I shared in the Q1 review, we don't have any differentiator to rent this room. We tried, it does get advertised, we do tell people it can be. The Boy Scouts, I think, have done it once. But it's just not a, I don't know what the sell is. We don't have a fancy, if we had a fancy overhead projector and the ability to do stuff and a computer, might be a different thing. I'm gonna reevaluate that next year with a recommendation to you guys on that. Line 51 is the high school. We have a new contract, but recall in the Q1 review, all of the high school stuff for this year was paid last year. They did it in 4 payments. I didn't know that, we did the budget. We just got a PO yesterday from them for the entire $5,140 for what would be this year. So Joanne is waiting for a call back from them on, do you want to pay it all now, which is what I would prefer now since they've offered it, but the contract says monthly payments of 800 and something. But if they want to pay it all now, I'm all for it. We'll recognize that this year, 17's budget will be easier now to plan for when the high school and it goes up next year. For the next 4 years, it goes up every year. Yes, sir.
Okay. So going back to 45, scuba, I brought this up before, probably this would be part of program review. Private company, I think they should pay the full cost and then some profit.
And I am, Jessica is getting in touch with, oh God, I can't remember his name now, but the guy, yes, and we're going to, and I told Jessica, I actually called Erica and said, what was your agreement with him? And she said, well, and she couldn't remember, and I said, well, where's it written down? Well, it's not sort of written down, and it's like, okay, well, at least I know not to keep looking for something that's not there,
Right.
but they will get the same, it'll be the same thing that every other program. The one thing that, well, that's not a budget. That's not for this discussion, so I'll move on. Anyway, for the high school, I don't know how they're gonna do, so that number may change. It might go, I've adjusted it for what it would be if they made the monthly payments, not for if they pay it all. So we'll see how that goes. If they pay it all, well, we go over and it's an extra $2,400.
But then we'll have less next year.
Yeah, so I'd be happy with that if they did it. Okay, so from the revenue side, that was pretty much it.
I would like to pause for a break if we're gonna moving into expenses, just because I've been sitting here for 2 hours and I need to take a break. So we're taking a break at 8:07 and we will come back in 5 minutes.
You've been looking at this yellow water?
No. Creep. I know, hang on. Oh, that's the wrong one. I can't tell. Okay, we're calling the meeting back back to order at 8:12 p.m.
Okay.
So we're talking about expenses.
Okay, so moving into the expenses side of it. Overall, we're at about 43% of our projected expenses for the year, when you look at it overall.
Wow.
But that said, since revenues had to be adjusted down quite a bit, I'm working hard, and you see it in here, some of these line items that are just whacked, completely gone. I've taken away their, uniforms and stuff like that we just have to make do, or I'll go buy them. But I'm working with the department heads, every one of them, to tighten down controls. And I'll get to one of them when I reach the lifeguard thing there, which is the biggest shock that hit me in this whole thing. Reserves, we pulled 35.5 out of the reserve this year, and we've replaced it all. Our intent at the beginning of the year was to replace it, replace the 13 remaining from 2015, and then add another 15 to it. And it was done in good faith. But right now, we've paid 1,000 extra from what we did, and based on where things are right here, I just don't see how I can honestly go in there and say I'm going to put money back into the reserve anymore this year when I have expenses that are I'll share with you, I've got about
You just put it
6,000.
in and take it out.
Yeah, I have 6,000 in expenses on a boiler vent for back there, which has to be done, that's 4,500.
Mhm.
And the boiler for the hot tub just cracked. Now, we've got it, we're working, jury rigging it to keep it working, but at any time, it could just decide to quit. That's about 1,100 and small change plus tax on top of that to get it done. So we're up at, you know, almost $6,000 of, that we had no clue before Barron came in and did their PMS on the stuff during the shutdown. And then when we started back up on Monday morning, the heat never came on, the hot tub. So I don't know which is worse, the complaining in my ear or the cost of the, and that boiler is only 2 years old, 3 years old.
Oh, not under warranty still?
No,
Crap.
so it's a 3-year-old. Well, I'll ask that question to Matt. I don't know that answer. But when we talked today about it this evening, right before the meeting, he didn't mention anything about a warranty. He just said, that thing was put in. That one was put in 2004. So I would have expected that one to crap before a 3-year-old boiler. But anyway, that's what happened. But anyway, because of that, I just don't think that that I should try to put any more in there unless by some stroke of business luck at the end of the year we have an excess and then we can make a deposit in there. Next are salary and wages. Overall, at the half, we're tracking pretty good. We're tracking about 51.1% of salary and wages for it. But I have 4 areas of major concern. I have my director of finance and my director of client services. They were woefully underfunded at the beginning of the year. Again, this was my learning process and not knowing to query things harder than I queried them at the time. I own it, but that's what happened. Lifeguard training instructor and lifeguards. So,
Can we go back to the client service and director of finance? I mean, they're working the minimum that we can let them work without giving them healthcare, is my understanding.
they would both decline it because they both are on TRICARE. One's an active duty wife and the other's a retired wife.
Yeah.
And so so you'll see what I'm proposing here
Oh, okay.
in a minute.
Then never
And
mind.
then what about this new law that the time and a half, or would that?
They don't reach that because they're not salaried, they're hourly anyway. And I've had this year 2 people inadvertently go 1.5 and one was 3 hours of overtime. And I came down pretty hard on their department head for that, so. That overtime is not approved unless I approve it. And I don't, Matt, I would approve overtime for if he was hourly. The others I don't. So here's what I've done with I'm gonna start with the director of finance. I'm increasing, this is Joanne. Joanne, I am moving accounts receivable over to her as well. Julie just has way too much stuff on her plate. Joanne doesn't have enough hours to do what she has, but I'm increasing her from 30 to 35 hours for the rest of the year. Well, all this takes effect once you guys approve it, so really October 1st. But I'm increasing her hours because if she's going to take over the QuickBooks and the accounts receivable part, she certainly can't do it, but I have to reduce Julie's workload. Julie just cannot do everything else. She keeps overrunning the 30 hours, and I know she's not lazy. She's not negligent in anything. It's just there aren't enough hours. I can't take anything more away from her than I've already tried to take away from them and do myself. It just can't be done. So I'm increasing her and adjusting her target. For Julie, I'm increasing, although I've taken that away from her, I'm increasing her to 32 hours a week. And so I've also directed her, so that you'll see that's that 18, that goes from 11, that's $7,800 increase. I'm also directing her to do 13 hours a week at the desk, minimum. So, because
At that desk?
yes.
Okay.
Because that's her department, really, and we want her to understand what's going on in her department. When she sits back here, although she does great work, she gets interrupted by her people all the time. And so if I have her up there, I think it's gonna, one, the price doesn't change. Her cost to me is the same regardless, except for when she's doing team admin, which I've reduced some of that too. It's just which line item it comes out of. And I'm working with Joanne. Next year, I'm either gonna make it all one line item or leave it the same, but I'm gonna figure out what the right answer is so that it's easy to track where she is and what she's doing up there. Again, there is not a thing wrong with the quality or quantity of her work. There just aren't enough hours that I will give her to do everything she has to do. So I oftentimes prioritize her, and oftentimes she self-prioritizes. So, lifeguard training instructors. Let me look at that one there. I need to make sure. Okay, so we were at 2,000 what we did for that, but we got up to 1810.
Wait, which one are we on now?
I'm sorry, line item 71.
Oh, okay.
So at the beginning of the year, when we did this, my predecessor said that she would teach all the lifeguard courses. And it sounded good, and so I queried her, and I was really, are you sure? You know, it's a lot of work. Yeah, you're salaried, and I get to abuse you and everything, but are you sure you can do this? It didn't pan out. It panned out for one class. She did it, and it was great. But then it didn't pan out quite that way. And so there was a little bit of overrun where it should have been at the half right now. However, we're only adding, if we weren't doing any more lifeguard instructors or lifeguard classes this year, the budget would have been fine, but we're gonna add another class. So I've upped it to reflect the cost of adding another class in there, but the class will pay for it. So, I mean, when you balance it, it will cover it right there. Lifeguards, this one here is the one, and it's line 89.
77 or?
No, 89, at least on, hang on.
No, it's 77.
77.
Yeah.
Lifeguard,
Yeah, 77.
that you're increasing like
My
30,000.
notes have the wrong number, dang it.
300, 301.
All right, 77, you're right.
I have questions on that, I'll let you talk.
Yeah, and I even looked at last year's budget, and when we did this, 46,000, yeah, 46,000, yeah, so it is. And don't worry, and Erica did this. She said, I'll take some shifts. There were times when she would come in and cover the early morning shift and do it, and she did fine. But in retrospect, that wasn't going to be enough to do what I thought. But this is part of the discovery where I did not, when I talk about, I understand IT labor. I did not at the time understand this right here. What I should have done was gone and looked at the actual of last year. But I just, day one, I'm like, oh, well, look. And actual, they were at 72,000 last year. And I'm like, but I didn't do that. I own it. But I have to up that $30,000 just based, and I made her go in and tell me how many hours you need, and I want it to be bare bones. Now, we still have to train new guards, so there's still gonna be some stuff in there. Next year, when next year's budget comes, it'll probably be close to this number here, but I'm looking at her, we're talking about policies, about when do I need 2 guards in the building? I mean, it never hurts to have 2 guards from a safety, but do I need 2 guards in here all the time? I don't think so. Yes, sir.
So yeah, so it's supposed to be 2 guards. How much overlap is there between the oncoming guard and offcoming guard? 'Cause maybe that'll answer some of the questions I have. Because I've been in here swimming and I've seen times when there's 3 or 4 guards.
The overlap time is for the senior guard, if it's going into an open swim, actually it's 15 minutes for all of them. It's 15
Okay.
minutes for a turn down, or for a pass down. I was thinking there was a difference, but there's
Okay.
no. It's 15.
So it shouldn't be,
Now,
there
yesterday-
shouldn't be any more than 15 minutes when there's more than 2.
Unless they're going into an open swim period where I have a minimum of 3 usually. However, the senior guard is supposed to, like Ella right there is a senior guard.
Oh, okay, so that's not counted as the 2.
No, the senior guard's a different budget.
But I mean, so there can be two guards and a senior guard
And a
here,
senior
too.
guard, yes.
Okay, good.
Yes,
Okay,
and the only time senior guards are out there is during open swim. So if it's not open swim,
What do
there
they
is
do?
a senior guard, but
What
they're
do
not
they do
being.
other times?
Pardon?
What do they do when they're not, if they're a senior guard and they're not out there guarding? What do they, when they're here, what are they doing?
Well, if, depending on how many hours they work, they get a 10-minute break somewhere in there.
Well, the guards do, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm talking about there's 2 guards, and now you say there's also a senior guard.
Well, they do a rotation. It depends on how many people are in the pool, Rich. It's really how many people are out
Because
there.
sometimes there's 2, because usually there's only, a lot of times when there's lap swimming, there's only 1 guard out there, and they're rotating back and forth.
Right.
There's 2 guards, and then sometimes there'll be a 3rd guard sitting in the,
They may not be on the clock, they're not supposed to. Yesterday, I sent one home an hour and 40
so
minutes
that's not the
early.
3rd, that's not the senior lifeguard that's sitting in there.
No, during lap swim, when I say during lap swim, there's a senior guard, it is the most senior guard. It's not, but they're not being
It's not a
paid.
supervisory position sitting
No.
in there, okay.
However, they do have the ability to, well, this isn't hacking right now. I don't need 3 guards in here. Lap swim's only got another 30 minutes, and I'm probably not gonna get a blah, blah, blah. Yes, we're trying, the challenge we're having is some of these younger kids
Right.
who don't want to go tell someone else, yeah, you need to go home yet.
Sure.
It's getting them, and so, and they're all hungry for money, like you
Sure.
would imagine,
Yeah.
college kids and all that, they're hungry for money. But I'm working with Jessica in enough for the rest of this year that I felt it was adequate, but next year, I'm really going to scrub this with her, where I need guards and when. I know I have to have overlap when I have guards training and stuff like that, but I come out here sometimes and I go,
Yeah,
holy cow, there's 1 person in the pool.
Yeah.
The other day, whenever you were here right before we shut down, there was you in lane 1 and 1 in lane 5, and I had 2 guards. Now, one of them was working and scrubbing and doing what they're supposed to do. I'm okay with that. But there are times when I don't, in the morning, I only have 1 guard in here.
yeah,
And if something happens, everyone out of the water.
yeah,
And that's what they're supposed to do. Why can't I do that more often?
yeah, okay, I agree.
And so that's where I'm kind of going, is how do we
Okay.
minimize that? Labor is my biggest expense. In any company, it's the biggest expense. But I'm trying to figure out ways to minimize that.
Okay, great, thank you.
Okay. Next is line 81. Let me make sure that's right. Yeah, team admin. This is Julie's support to the NWAC, doing all of the administrative stuff for them. It's tracking, so I talked to her about it. They're tracking not that much. I reduced it by $750 so that I could get it somewhere else.
Is there any way that can be done by the Booster Club?
I think we talked about that. It has to do,
No.
when it's dealing with the money, it's like we
Yeah.
don't want that.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay.
And they're not, and
You
they're not.
can't have that, yes. It's a legal.
Okay, so the next one on there, 86, salary, wages, other. So this is something that I'm gonna have to put back into the employee manual, so when we talk about it, I'm gonna ask for this on the 22nd. This is paychecks. This is the company that does our checks. If one of the employees loses a paycheck or doesn't cash it within 180 days, the check's nulled. Once they come to us and say, oh, I lost a paycheck. I had one, well, I've got 2 of them. We lost a check. Okay, well, when? Well, I don't know. All right, well, okay. So we call paychecks. If there was a $100 check, paychecks, automatically it's a $30 processing fee.
Oh, wow.
$30. Now, so they take that money and refund it to us, minus the $30, and that's all I pay them. That's all I'm going to pay
Okay.
back to the
Great.
to the
Okay.
That's
to the person.
completely fair.
They lost it or didn't cash it, and that's what's coming. But that's not a policy anywhere. That's just what they've always done. And so I need to put that into the employee manual somewhere as an addendum when we talk on the 22nd, and I'll figure out where to put it. But if you lose your check, I'm going to explain this is what happens. You don't get this $30 back.
Yeah, right.
So, okay.
I'm sorry, just to go back to that, would you put that in writing and send it to us so that everybody hears that and knows it and thinks about it before we sit down and talk about the
Sure.
handbook? Just saying.
I have another change that I'll shoot that one to you as well. It's an addition, it's not a change really.
Okay.
So- Okay. The next one, you approved it, so that's just the line 90 is the executive increasing it to 40 hours. Aquatic director vacation, line 104. when we did this, we went, okay, how many hours of vacation for her based on her salary, da, 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 da. And we didn't account for any carryover that she had. And that was an error. It's fixed now, but that number on there I have to bump up because we did a payout to her, and then now Jessica earns 5 days a year of vacation in her job there. So that's reflected in, yes, sir.
So, yeah, going back to executive director, the thing, thought there was no increased cost
Well,
for that
this is
executive leave.
Well, it's a liability to, but I can't carry it over. It's use or lose type stuff. But whenever I go and take vacation, then or if I, not vacation, when I take executive leave and I tell, what you see, $283, then I tell Joanne, hey, tomorrow I'm going to take 2 hours from blah, 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 to blah, blah, blah of executive leave. And then she docks 2 hours out of it.
Okay,
but it's-
okay. I just don't understand why it's on the budget then. Oh, I think you just sort of make a flat,
It's one of those things, it's not like actual money.
okay.
Just-
Well, if you
Looks like
think it should
money.
be removed from the budget,
Well, I mean, yeah, I would think it would just be, what are we paying you? Because I think somebody's gonna look at this and say, well, we're paying him his salary plus vacation plus his 2,700 plus, or 2,270. I think somebody's gonna add that up and think you're making more than you are.
I'm okay with removing it. It doesn't carry over. I don't know if there's
I
any
agree.
legal reason. I mean,
I think it is not any different from, so I think it's important that we treat, and maybe there's a case that says otherwise, but sick pay, vacation, and executive leave are all really the same.
Yes.
Right, they're all the same. I mean, it's kind of an accrual, and so we've gone back and forth about this over the last 2
So he's not
years.
paid a flat salary of $59,000 a year, plus he gets, whenever he takes his executive leave, he gets paid that extra.
no, I don't get paid for
No.
it.
See,
Yeah.
so that's what I'm saying, but I'm thinking, people who are not savvy with budgets like me would probably look at that and say, oh, so getting 59,000 plus 2,270 plus vacation time plus, and they're gonna say, wow, he cost us $70,000 a year.
The only ones that you really are on tap for as a liability to the district is vacation, because sick leave is not a carryover, and you can't pay it out if you leave. The vacation is the only one that,
Okay,
if
yeah.
I accrue it and I don't use it and I leave, then I get paid what I accrued.
Up to a certain amount, isn't it?
No, up to whatever my max is that I can have
Yeah,
on the
right.
books, yeah. But I can't carry over, if tomorrow I was to decide to leave.
No, I'm just trying to figure out what your annual cost to the district is. If somebody was trying to figure out what your annual cost of the district is, it's your salary plus the health insurance plus.
But
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
we need to treat them similar though, because here's the thing, and this is, again, we've gone over this a couple of times, and we never actually, I don't think we ever resolved at, hey, I'm comfortable with this. I don't think we ever have, because it was, why is this in here? And then it was take it out, and that's like, well, but you have to have it in. And so I agree with exactly what you're saying. I agree. The thing I'm unsure of is because you would treat sick pay the exact same way, and so it's, well, there's up to a certain amount, and our original discussion a long time ago was, well, then you would, if you're going to put it in this category, you would technically be decrementing the salary,
Yeah,
right?
right.
And we were told no, and I was like, but you would be, because the salary
That's what
doesn't
we're
change,
saying, yeah.
right? And so, but we're not doing both of those things. And then the other one for me is under vacation. We have, so here's what we haven't done, is we talk about it as a liability, but we assume it's a constant. And so if we're really going to record
that every year.
exactly, how much do you have? Exactly, it should be, there should be a pretty precise
Up to the
number.
max, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
That we need to be prepared to pay out the, just like
And that's-
Erica left, we didn't know she was leaving, we should have that in the
Yeah.
budget, that if, you got hit by a bus, or you were like, decide I am not reasonable and you can't stand me anymore, that's like, I'm gonna go
Keep buying
home.
drinks, you'll never have that problem.
Yes,
But-
yeah, he can get through it.
So, It's exactly right. It's a liability is what it is. And so this is good, like when you see where's vacation, executive director, of course, this is the 6 month. I did use 3 days of vacation in July. But, so that number over here, original and actual, that reduces the when I use it, it reduces the liability that you have. It doesn't, it's not a cost to you. It
Correct.
just reduces the This is the one thing on the expense side that doesn't go the way everything else goes.
But we should carry it over, if you've got like 10 days of vacation, if you haven't used
Right.
that next year, we should calculate that into the LNI.
And that's exactly right, sir. And that's what we didn't do with Erica, but we will do that with
Okay.
Matt and me and Coach
Okay, right,
this year.
okay.
But I always have hated seeing these as an expense
Yeah, me
when
too.
we're not paying an extra amount of money. So
Yeah, that's what I'm
can you
saying.
fix this?
The vacation might
For an
actually
idiot
be
like me, It
separate.
looks like
Yeah.
we're paying you extra money.
So I can remove sick pay and I can remove the executive leave because
Yeah.
it's tracked back here in paychecks. I mean,
Sure.
I know who has
Yeah.
what sick pay.
I would do that.
And then leave that in there only as a liability because it is a budget liability if someone leaves and wants to sell back vacation.
Yep.
If you're
right.
good with that, I'll do that.
Okay, I would be better with that.
I'm good with that, but I would like to see somewhere, I don't know where, but I would like to somewhere see a little bit more detail, and maybe the real answer is, well, I was gonna say just for you, but that's not fair.
For all of them, for the maintenance, for all those who have that, I think it should be available to the public as part of the budget.
Well, yes.
Or reported separately, but as part of this, if it's not gonna be in the P and L,
Coming into it.
as part of this budget review, or something.
I mean, if they say, somebody looks at that and says, wow, we're paying him $75,000 a year and we're coming up, I think we're paying him too much. Maybe that's why I'm gonna vote against this levy. Well, see,
Yeah.
that sort of thing is,
Good point. But, and here's extra money in the budget that really,
Well, you're right, because it's only in there as an accounting thing that doesn't really affect, because I don't get paid for using sick leave, it's just, it dwindles.
Right.
And-
you're just not here.
just as long as you don't carry it over
Right,
to.
and for salaried people, it's kind of like that, I can take the 2-hour lunch, 3 martini lunch, whatever. I can't drink 3 martinis, but.
As long as we see it somewhere else, I mean, I'd like to see that, but I agree that I don't think it belongs in the bottom line.
Yes.
Of, on a P&L, because it's misleading.
I'll investigate
Okay.
that and see what, I've got a friend who's a no kidding CPA that won't charge me.
Okay, good.
Nobody kids about being a CPA.
Yeah.
Let's be
No one
honest.
jokes
I'm
about
trying to make a budget that's for idiots, like,
Yeah.
Oh, I can bring back the
novices like
kindergarten
yourself.
budget.
Novices, that's a better
Oh,
word.
that's budget. Bad. Okay, so 109 payroll taxes, that was just adjusted to reflect the changes in the payroll stuff. So, I mean, that had to be adjusted for it. Line 114, employee uniforms, I slicked it down to 200 in case we have to buy lifeguard shirts. But I just slicked it down because it didn't have it. Medical, line 115, that's for Coach and Matt and his wife. And they both, that's reduced from the original. Last year, it would have been basically 18.3. But when I presented them each with the options they had for this year, independently, and I said, you both have to pick the same one, but I'm not telling you what the other one picked because I'm only going to pay one plan. They both picked the one that was the lowest cost to the district without anything.
So
So
only the coach and his wife is the only ones we have to pay.
Coach, Matt, and Matt's wife, those are the only ones. And so you can see that even at 13.5, it's just a slightly over 1% of the budget. So it's,
And that's what it is gonna cost it toward the end of the year, because it seems like 7902 should be half, but that's not, that's,
7902,
Yeah.
let me find out what that is because
16, doesn't it?
yeah, it would be higher if it, I mean, that should be, it seems like it should be half, maybe
Unless
there's,
you're counting in this reduced cost, whatever. for-
yeah, let me verify that. I was
Okay.
wondering. Okay. I'll find that one. All right. Let me find that. Okay, it's not in there. It's not in, there's not a lot. This is the weird thing with QuickBooks. I printed out to create the Q2 review. Joanne, send me the budget, send me the P&L through June 30th. Shoots it to me in an Excel, and then I sweeten it up and do all the stuff so you guys can look at it there. All right, hey, I need that again, not thinking just to use the same one. Can you send me another one? I need to do one for the budget revision. But I don't need a P&L, I just need the budget for the year. And it has different data, different line items. Like silver sneakers is in one, but it's not in another.
Oh.
And art course supplies, which doesn't have, you don't see it on here. Now it's $10.87. You'll see it on a P&L. It's $10.87 because they ran up and bought $10 worth of Band-Aids for the first aid class up at the dollar store. But what I'm gonna do in the future is I'm just gonna dump that into art course equipment and make it simpler. Which leads me to line item 119, art course equipment. They're not buying anything. I took it away. They hadn't spent any money on it yet. I took it away for this year so that we could put the money elsewhere.
What sort of things would they be buying?
I'm going to have to buy some dummies for the CPR and some stuff like that, and they're not cheap. But those kind of things that they use for the first aid
Check with
classes.
the Navy, maybe they've got stuff that they're surplusing, because they use a lot of this stuff.
I can check that surplus thing.
Yeah, we're poor.
Annie.
Yeah, that's right. So the next one on there is cleaning and sanitation, line 124. Did I miss one? No, okay. Cleaning and sanitation. Like I said, I'm not hitting every one of them. At $5,500 halfway through the year, and those are like constant buys, toilet paper and stuff like that. I just reduced it because enough in case I go over for some reason on something, but I just jumped that down $600 because we're not executing. Although that's not a linear thing, it's as close to linear as you can get without being linear, because it's almost like clockwork. We're ordering paper towels, TV and stuff like that. Event food, I dropped that down because we haven't done anything, and that would be like, are we hosting a senior night and we're going to have cookies and Kool-Aid or something like that, or some other event where we have food available for people. And anything we do the rest of the year, Julie will make it work on $100. So, also office supply. Why is this not matching?
Number 127.
Yeah, and I'm trying to figure out why it's not matching. All right, well, I'll hit it there and then I'll come to the 127 office supplies. I just reduced it because we're not executing against, buying paper and toner like we projected. So I just dropped that down to move it somewhere else. Okay. That's so weird. I've got one. That's why I've got one out of place. Do I have it? Oh yeah, I've got one out of place. But I'll come back to it. The NWAC, we did the NWAC apparel special order at the Q1 review. I need to add this either as a line item, or I have to figure out somewhere to put it in there if he does this again next year. So it's
Well, I have a question about that. Sorry. I mean, based on my understanding of it, though, there should be an offsetting revenue item because we were told that the suits get sold, and so there should be something offsetting. And I'm based on looking at just the retail item, I hope it's not that. So
no, it's not retail. It would be against NWAC, but I don't know.
Okay, sorry, I may have overlooked it, but
And I remember we specifically had the first time we lost like $20, and he said, I've learned my lesson, so next time we're not gonna have that.
It actually
But
ended up
there's-
being only $3.
Okay, but it's like, this should be offset, and it's not anywhere that I saw either. I
well,
agree.
there's swim accessories retail,
yeah.
sorry, but
And let me verify that, but I
Okay.
think that got moved into swim accessories retail. And so it should be, we've received 654, but put out 500 and whatever that number was.
The concern there would be then back to, and I'm not trying to devolve this conversation, but would be, okay, but then is 23, which is that income, that if that's $654, then do we, that original 523 had nothing to do with these suits. And so we may need to make other adjustments. I mean, clearly we're gonna succeed on that one because we already have, right? We've already met the annual number, but it now includes something that we didn't initially expect. So we may, I realize it's kind of the nits and gnats, and I get that, but I think for some of us, it's just important that we show that we're not, that a program isn't just consuming, that we see where the offset exists. So it would be great to do that.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Mhm. Got it.
Thank you.
Huh? Okay, meet host expenses. We're reducing that based on what we think it's gonna cost us for the next one. So, swim team software, that was adjusted up a few bucks because you can't go out and broadcast NWAC or any pick your website that you guys have seen them whenever you get the emails, and it's a line and a half of 80-something characters with all the percentage marks and exclamations and all that there. So what they did was they just created an alias called swiminwac.com. It's still the same thing.
But that's not reimbursed, that's covered under their fees, their monthly fees.
Well, no. Well, I'm not exactly sure how to answer that question, Commissioner. It's the cost of the software.
I know, so we pay for that, and they don't reimburse us for that, that's except for what they pay for their monthly fees.
Yes. Again, that's where their revenue comes
Okay.
from. That's
Okay.
correct. Yeah. Okay, meet fees paid to clubs. We've gone to more meets this year than we have in the past, so that's being projected up.
Can we go back to 136, please?
Sure.
That's a new one that I don't recall seeing. It's swim team organizational memberships.
Yeah, that's the membership in the Pacific Northwest Swimming.
Okay, and so where is that offset? Or is it similar to the one we just discussed?
It would have to come out of fees. There's no.
Okay.
That's just what we pay what the club, what we pay.
Okay, I don't remember
That's
seeing that.
137?
Yeah, 136.
So that's also-
136.
136.
136.
So that's also from their monthly fees. Okay.
Yes, that's where it should be.
And also probably number 138 then, huh? 137?
Well, 137 is a pass-through. It's supposed,
is?
yes,
It's-
it's supposed to be, although it doesn't match up in this case.
Okay.
Because
Yeah.
it's,
Well, you're gonna start seeing it because this month is whenever the new swim season starts and people are signing up, and we're gonna have to send that money to the USA Swim. So that number will be coming up. So I already covered that one. All right, line 144, kayak equipment, I reduced that because I talked to Pete. There's really not really much he's gonna have to do. He might have to buy some charts or something. He's got 2 more classes coming in the fall here at Skagit Valley. Let's see, 165. Why do I have, wow.
So the Barracuda backup, that's also not a pass-through, right?
Hey, Barracuda back is not a pass-through. That's our monthly fee for the backup. And
For that's the swim team or no?
no. Swim team ended
Okay.
at line
Barracuda's
140.
not swim team cost.
No. And what we didn't have on there in the original budget was the tax, which is why I bumped that up.
Yeah, because where it says total swim team, that's where they end.
Okay, all right.
All right. All right. All right, line item 150 is the training courses tuition. I put a stop on training because we have one more bill coming in, but I've lowered it by $300. We'll cover that bill, and that should be good.
So covering that bill will take it to 600-ish?
Just shy of it. I
Okay,
think.
okay.
But yeah, I cut all that out. We'll put it back in there next year a little bit. But the line 151, the IT contract, we talked about this in the Q1 review, but just as a reminder why that looks like it's over monthly, because we didn't get charged for December until January. Normally we're billed a month in advance. We didn't get December's bill until January, and then we got January's bill. So that's what happened with that. That's why it looks like there's an extra month in there. Accounting consultant 155. I reduced it and left some money in there, but I just don't know that I'm going to need an accountant. I'll probably keep something in there next year. I'll look at that, but 3,500, I just don't foresee that being. I've had no reason this year to contact one. Now maybe about this idea about the line item thing for the stuff, but if that uses up $500 when I can call someone for free and do it anyway, that would be it. But there'll be something in there next year, but it won't be $3,500. I just don't think I'm going to need that. Computer maintenance, we dropped that a little bit based on what we think the needs are going to be. I will tell you that one of our computers in the fishbowl cracked, and part of what I'm doing is moving Julie up to there, one closer to her people, but I'm going to try not this year to buy her a new computer. I've looked at refurb computers. It's probably in the $300 to $350 range to get her one. I'm holding off on it because it's going to cost whatever it's going to cost Rick at the IT company to come set it all up and make it all networkized and get it ready to go. I'm trying my best to hold off on that as long as I can and do that in January. But if something comes up, I'll let you know. But that's my plan right now, is to not, and she's good with that because she still comes back and uses Matt's computer to do the stuff that she has to do back here when she needs to be not disturbed. All right.
If I may, just back up real quick. I would just like to just say regarding an accountant, I mean, it's really an accountant. I mean, we can, call it whatever we want. I personally would prefer to err on the side of caution a little bit more. And even if it's just someone reviews where we are on our P&L, I do recall that last year when we had an accountant, there were some suggestions that were made, and that's all that this person is doing because they don't own our books. Some of those suggestions were taken and some of them weren't, and I personally feel like it would be a great litmus test, even potentially before an audit. That's a personal feeling. I realize that not only may everyone on the board not agree with me, but that you may not. I feel that it would be better than safe than sorry, but I'll leave it at that.
Okay.
Yeah, when's our audit? Isn't it this year or is it next
It's
year?
in December. They might ask for us to, it's going to be a box audit, so it'll reduce the cost. We don't get billed until January anyway, so this comes in. And I've made sure, but they're asking for us to send box material up in November now. But they haven't told us what they're going to ask for yet. But so I had to go back and forth with the girl. We talked about December, so I wouldn't get billed till January. And she goes, don't worry, the work won't be done till December. But they're not going to come down here and do it. They're going to do it up in either Mount Vernon or Bellingham, wherever their team's out of Bellingham, but I think most of them are in Mount Vernon.
That should save us money.
It should, by doing the box audit, because it estimated it's around $9,000 plus or minus if they were to come down here and do it here. And that, yeah, it's travel would eat up a lot of it. I don't know what that'll save us, but I would like to believe it would save us at least 30-40%, just off the top. Okay. 162, we did this at Q1, but just as a reminder, the reason I'm adjusting that here in the revision is to accurately reflect when I saw the first contract. I saw 625, and I thought, wow, 625 a year, that's a really good contract for a thing. It's ended up that was supposed to be quarterly, and then I find out there's actually a second contract that they do for the stuff over here. So now it's all combined into one contract, and it's about $800 a quarter, so around $3,200, $3,187. I just rounded up in my notes here. 164 legal. I lowered that quite a bit because we haven't had the need for it. That doesn't mean next year it won't go back up as part of a plan and we revisit it mid-year again. But right now, I think anything that comes up, I'm hoping we can do in $1,500 if anything comes up. 165 payroll processing, that went up because W-2s, we didn't account for W-2. Okay, they do this for payroll, blah, 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 but we forgot to put in the charge for them doing the W-2s for us, which is what that was. 175 is travel. Oh, I'm sorry, 169 is email. So there was the extra email account. When the new commissioners came on, we had to create a new account. For Michael, when he comes on, we'll just turn Cecil's account into his, alias it to him now. So he'll still have all of Cecil's old emails, and he'll have everything. And right now, because I'm not sure how long we have to, we do pay to keep access to Sean and Steve Hoffmeyer's emails, just in case PRRs come in and stuff like that. So we have to pay for that, but it's like $8 a month or something like that. It's not too significant, but just I don't feel good in letting it go, and then all of a sudden a PRR comes in and we can't access it. They would back it up before they went, but it's easier just to do it this way.
Is there a way to, so you mean their private emails?
There's
or
no
you
way
mean,
we can back it up.
Only their oakharborpool.com.
Okay, well, no, because I know that they had to send certain things from before these accounts were established, but it seems, I mean, we should be able to just rip everything. I mean, we should be able to, instead of keeping it live, I mean, we should be able to
Archive it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And it might be slightly more difficult to access. Hopefully not, but that might, I mean, it would be a one-time cost, but then these are not live accounts anyway.
Yeah.
Just a thought.
No, I've gone into them a couple times looking for stuff that I thought that when someone asked a question about something, I went, oh, okay, well, that would have been him, so, you know.
So if there's a request, do you have to get permission from them to no? So you have access to their old emails.
I do.
So why can't we just get a memory stick and stick it in the machine and say, and download all that information and then cancel it out?
Well, because I think our IT policy forbids us from putting memory sticks into our computers.
We can't have some sort of backup system.
Well,
memory system.
that's what
That's what we're talking about,
I'm looking into
archiving.
archiving.
Yeah.
I'm gonna look into that one because
Okay.
it's
All right.
what archiving it means and what our access is to it from them.
Okay, all right.
Okay, yeah, I will do that. 175, where are we? Here we are, travel. Most of this, I don't charge mileage anymore. If I'm gonna go to Mount Vernon or beyond, yeah. But if I'm just going to Anacortes or down to the south end of the island, I don't charge mileage anymore because, as Commissioner Fort says, I'm rich, I have a Hummer. So,
You don't get enough money to pay for that damn gas anyway.
I know. But I get maybe almost the same as your Chevy van, which reminds me of that song from the 70s. Anyway, but most of this is Joanne and her trips she goes to county every week at least once. And what this has included was Joanne and Julie going to Mount Vernon together and individually for various training that I've sent them up to around taxes and QuickBooks and stuff like that. So but we figured out what we need for the rest of the year, and we'll be better next year. I don't know why we didn't count that in for some reason, but she drives there every week, every Thursday at minimum, so.
I think they just didn't have a good, how much will it cost? Because,
What about all these vehicles we have? They can't drive one of those to,
I wouldn't let them.
okay.
I wouldn't let
They're
them
not
drive.
any good, they're in terrible shape. Huh?
I wouldn't let them drive these
Gotcha.
vehicles. One of them's okay, the one that's out there in the parking lot is actually somewhat decent, but none of the three, the one that Pete uses for kayak right now, only because it goes down to City Beach or out, it doesn't go far, is the only reason we let it do it, because it's not in good shape.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay. Boiler, 178. When we did the budget, we didn't reflect the increase in temperature, so that's in there. And it's actually bearing fruit, that's about right, when you look at the halfway number there for that.
well, if halfway is 37, shouldn't it be 74 instead of 68?
Yeah. That's a good point, too.
I know there's differences. Maybe you said, oh, it's really hot in July and August, but
Well, yes, and there are a couple, and this is only through June, and so my guess is we're not going to approve this tonight. My guess is that this is going to come back on the 22nd as a agenda item for a short period of time and do it, and I can relook at that.
okay. I would,
But so here's what I have found out. Well, first off, for the whole week, for a whole week, it was off.
That's true.
During the thing. I don't know what that does to me, what that'll do for me.
I want
The
to
other
find out
thing-
how much it costs to start it back up.
Well, starting it doesn't cost anything. I mean, it just runs. It just runs.
Yeah, but you gotta start water from whatever the
Yeah,
ambient
60,
temperature is up to
65
80.
degrees is what the
Yeah,
water is
so that's
coming
a
out
lot
like.
of, that seems to be a lot of juice, you would think, over 2 or 3
Well, it just
days.
takes long to do it. But here's the other thing that I'm hoping plays a factor here. The exhaust for the boiler that has to be replaced, it's double lined. The inner lining, the inner metal lining rusted out, especially up top as it leaves the building. And and this is how they found it when they were cleaning out the boiler during the shutdown. All this rust metal and everything's down there in the boiler where the water's supposed to be getting hot. And so no one knows for sure, but my uneducated belief is with that removed, more water can get to the elements better.
Yeah.
And so it'll reduce the amount of cost to heat it.
oh,
Right.
So but I have no way to measure that right at the moment.
Right.
It's a feeling
Okay.
that from
Well,
physics.
I would agree with you.
So let me look at that one. Question. Oh, and you know how, I'm gonna tell you, I'm sorry, my mind is a little slipping here. We went and looked at the last couple of years of October through December boiler bills too, and compare, and sort of went, okay, if it runs like that, then this is what we think we can do. But I'll redo that, I'll relook at that and make sure.
okay. I just would rather err putting too much in that part of the budget than not, because if we suddenly have, oh, we don't have enough money, where are you gonna take it from? And
Right.
there's not a lot of places you're gonna be able to take it from.
There's
Spread it
nowhere,
around.
nowhere
Yeah.
once you approve it.
Correct the budget.
Yeah, and, well, anyway. Electricity, based on the trend, I reduced it. However, I have a concern that now all these lights are working. As you can see, I can tell if someone's drowning now in the baby pool.
Ooh, you are gonna be using a lot more electricity, you're right.
What's that gonna do to the electric
These are
bill?
fluorescent bulbs,
They're compact fluorescents, yes.
so, and they were fluorescent before.
Yes, they were the same bulbs. We didn't change to.
Fluorescent, fortunately, is cheaper than LEDs, that'd be even cheaper.
And to change, and we did verify this, to change to LED, which is what I would like to do because they last longer and it's better cost savings in the long run, I'd have to redo all the ballasts.
Yeah.
And that's what they spent 2 days in here going around all of these lights with the scissors lift.
Mhm. Right.
So
That's for the future.
I'm leaving it there now, but I'm concerned that that's not going to be accurate. But I just, right at the moment, that's what I'm planning. Let's see, pool water garbage, I upped that a couple grand, because I don't know what it's gonna cost to fill
Why is
another,
there water garbage in the same,
because that's the way the bill comes.
what do you mean, is that, what does that mean? Does that mean the water is garbage?
Now,
The water is what we're sending down the drain is counted as garbage, or no, I don't understand that.
no, it's the pool, it's the water usage that goes into the pool, and it's the garbage
Oh, okay.
from the can out back.
I would have thought that had been two line items. That's-
It's billed the same.
Okay, got it.
From them, so that's
Weird.
why it's that way. But, so I just threw another 2 grand at it, because I don't know what it's gonna cost to fill up the pool. And I couldn't find numbers in the past on it.
I didn't think somebody was done that.
Well,
Let's do that for this going forward.
yeah, I'll talk about that offline. Okay, so, Clover Valley, because we did give them they have used the 2,000 for the fence repair, I just bumped that with the trash cleanup that we've had to do for the year to make that right on line 187. Then line 188, to answer a question you had, Commissioner Hawley, CIP is supposed to be capital improvement plan.
Okay.
But we're gonna remove that in the next year's budget. It's just deleting the characters is all it is. And it's just gonna be repair and maintenance. Why it says other is a QuickBooks anomaly. But that's just the way QuickBooks hierarchy goes. I'm lowering this and I did the lowering before I knew about the boiler over here. So my plan on this is I am not going to do anything to the UV system until next year. It's not critical to us.
I agree.
The strand trawl, I'm just going to pray that it makes it into next year. Although it's been working fine, I'm just going to pray that it makes it into next year. I just don't have any other way. And so that's going to make up some of it. I had originally, believe it or not, I had originally dropped this to 12,000 because of the way we were tracking until in the shutdown when we found out about the boiler. And then so I readjusted it
Okay.
based on what I think is coming. And I'll just make a decision. If it's not in the strand trawl has to be fixed. If it breaks, we have about 48 hours before we have to have it in place, which according to Matt, who's talked to the people, we can get one in 48 hours. The UV system will require an electrician and all sorts of stuff, and it's just not critical right now. And
It's not that
And if
effective
the-
anyway, Dave.
right, and if the hot tub boiler just craps, in my view, it's not a critical system to the pool, but it's a very popular place. But so that's going to be a real-time call if I can't do it. And I'll consult with the commission on that one on how we do that. I don't want to anger patrons, but if I don't have the budget for it, I don't have the budget for it. And that vent, the $4,500 roughly for that vent, when the state comes out and does their boiler inspection sometime between now and the end of the year, which we're expecting, we will fail with that vent like that. But it won't be able to be done at the earliest until around the 19th of the month. So we're still almost 2 weeks away from, and so I'm going to pull the trigger tomorrow on that based on tonight, even though I'm going to pull the trigger on that so they can order the parts get here, and on the 19th they can put it in. So, okay. Let's see, in 192, we haven't used that at all this year. Now I can't find my 192.
Employee and.
Yeah, I know what it is. I think I dropped it down to only keeping 500 in it. Is that what I did?
No, 150.
To 150
150?
from 500.
Yeah, we haven't, that's the people get stressed or bummed out and, feel like they need to talk to a counselor about something.
What was our actual last year? Sorry.
I don't think it was much, if at all, but it was, I think it was.
There was.
It was the one swim instructor
I know.
that,
My point was just, if we know how much even one call would be, just that we're allotting that much, that's all. And that's why,
I'll research that.
okay, so I just, because if 150 wouldn't cover it, then we need to increase it.
Yeah, it would be silly to not have enough for one call. You either
Okay.
have none and I think having at least one call is a good idea.
Okay.
Thanks.
Alrighty. Election services were paid last year, so, I mean, that got gobbled up pretty quickly whenever I pulled it back out of there. For next year, I think based on however the board approves, whatever the levy subcommittee recommends, when to do it, I think it will be way less than that for the election anyway, than what we got rid of.
Okay, great.
199 special events and programs, I reduced that based on what we think we're gonna need for the rest of the year. And porta potty, that was a question you had, Commissioner Holly. There was a price increase in June, is what
Okay.
happened on that.
Okay.
Can I back up to 193 real quick?
Yes.
We do know that we will have, it won't just be the levy, it will actually be election of, okay, just wanted to be sure we were accounting for that, that's all.
And I'm figuring for we did all 5 of you all this year for just under 10 grand. So I'm just gonna estimate 2,500 per that, and then whatever we think the levy is. And then I can also talk with the treasurer down there, since we talked to them quite a bit, and see in general, what does this cost? But every time we talk, we've got a number about the last time the levy was run 6 years ago. It was, why did we end up paying $30-something thousand of a 50-something, and based, I never really understood what they were saying was the metric for how they determine who pays what.
We pay the majority.
Yeah, we did. Okay, so my final comments before we, yes, sir.
Well, okay, just before you, so going back, all the way back to the levies, number 3, so 4, 574, well, the 1% we're gonna add increase, I'm assuming we're gonna add a 1% increase this year. Is that based on the 574, or will that be based on 581?
It should be based on 581, and then they remove, Commissioner Holly's going to her training here soon in September. I'm going to go up on October 4th to county's holding a little seminar, half-day seminar. I'm going up to that one. And but it should be the 581, and then once we do that, then we subtract the 65, whatever, $100.
Gotcha.
Okay. So I thought long and hard about this. It's been first off, I'll tell you, I love the job. I'm just going to tell you that. I love this job. I'm having a lot of fun with it. There are a lot of frustrations, and you guys feel them too. But this has been a huge year of discovery. And I'm going to say we, meaning we as a staff, we as a commission, we as a group, have discovered a lot this year. I know more about what I call the subtleties and the peculiarities, as I described earlier, of the recreation industry. And I joke around in here sometimes, we're big recreation. We're not big pharma, we're not big oil, we're big recreation. And but I know more about that, which will make future budgets not as painful as this. It might be painful in the reality, but it won't be painful in the forecasting. It will, and the realization of what the forecast is. So we are looking at other things here that we'll talk about next week at the program review on how to increase revenue more this year, because we need to. Even if it's only $500,000, it could be the difference. And lower costs. One of the things, and we'll bring some of those next week, some of those come to the next meeting. Among those, and I was hoping I'd have the numbers tonight to at least share preliminarily, but I don't have them because I don't have part of the thing, is an expanded shutdown schedule during the holiday season, Thanksgiving. And I'll share what I'm thinking. I don't know if it makes sense yet, because I know what my costs are each of these days I'm going to talk about, but I don't know what the average revenue for each day is over the last 3 years. And that's where one of them I know is an easy one. This year, Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve fall on a Saturday. Christmas and New Year's Day fall on a Sunday. We're looking at, why don't we just shut down for the weekend for those days?
Mm-hmm.
We shut down a half a day the day before Thanksgiving. This one looks pretty easy to me. Why not just shut down? I don't impact NWAC if they practice, because coach doesn't need us. The boiler stays going anyway. I can't just shut it down and bring it back up, because that'd be inefficient. The lights would be off, so I'd save electricity as long as no one's in here. But on the 23rd, the day before Thanksgiving, we're only open till 1:30. We're only open till 1:30 on Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve. why why even come in? But if it looks like the last 3 years, any one of those 3 days has been a traditional revenue generator where we've been making money, then we reconsider. And then I'm also looking at the day after Thanksgiving and the day after Christmas. So potentially shut down. Again, I need to do what the revenue loss compared to the cost would be.
Yep.
And then I'm going to present that at the meeting in September, or the regular meeting this month.
Great.
I'm also working with Erica strongly. We have got lifeguards caught us up. If we had budgeted this for 72,000.
You mean Jessica?
Yeah, Jessica. Did I say Erica?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. If we'd have budgeted, if I'd have looked at the actual and said, no, we got to budget this for 72, and maybe we'd still have to raise it a little bit, at least I was in the ballpark. But I missed it, and it just brings back that there are inefficiencies in some places in here that I need to address more head on with the staff. It's going to be painful for them, just like it's painful for a lot of the patrons, because I'm finding these policies that we've never enforced, but they're resolutions.
Yeah.
And so now I'm going, well, wait a minute, and I'm going back to like 1998, but and I look through, there's nothing that's superseded it.
Mhm.
A resolution on X, doesn't matter what X
Yeah, it
is.
seemed like listening to past meetings, they would make decisions off the cuff. It was like, ooh.
Yes. And so it's painful for the staff, it's painful for the patrons especially, because now all of a sudden, well, so-and-so used to always let me do that. Yes, I know, but so-and-so wasn't enforcing policies that were created and adopted by the commission, and that's our job, is to enforce those policies. So worse than it not being enforced is it being enforced inconsistently.
Mm-hmm.
And consistency is big. So those are some of the things that we're working on. So I also know that no budget's ever perfect. It wouldn't matter. We will never, if the four of us made the core of a team for the next 20 years here, we would never have a budget that would not need a revision in the year. It just isn't going to
But
happen.
you don't need to be $50,000 off.
Right on. And that's where I need to get to. So with that, I yield the floor for any other comments. But I thank you for your time, and
Excellent presentation. Thank you very much.
thank you.
I have some questions. Okay, number 5.
Okay, that's on
For page 1.
Let me go back.
Okay.
I'm a mess over here. I'm glad you don't have organized in my goals.
Which number?
Number 5, the timber harvest
Oh,
taxes.
okay. Well, you can ask the question, I can answer it.
Just, I don't understand why, 89 should be, in the revised, should be $200.80, which is what we've actually gotten.
Yes, a good catch. And
Okay.
I was so focused on the other one.
No, and it's very small potatoes, but it's like,
No,
hey,
very-
it's an additional $110 bucks.
Okay.
Woohoo! We can go to Cuba.
Yeah.
Let's see.
All right.
Oh, number 50, Clover Valley Park.
Yeah.
So we budgeted 1,000. We've got the 684 from the Babe Ruth boys.
Yep.
And we're still saying we're gonna get 1,000. Are we gonna get more money through this year? I know you had talked to, do you think that's possible, or?
I think it's probable. They need a place to play.
Okay.
And it would be, and I just said it's $5 an hour out there, and it would be a lot of hours. It would probably be close to, I think it's going to be around $400 to $500 is what they're going to.
Okay, that's perfect. I just thought, let's not kid ourselves if we're not gonna be able to get the money this year.
That's why I left that there, because
Okay.
in the meeting with with the North Whitby Little League guys a couple weeks ago, that they said that they needed the field.
Thank you. Yeah, no, you answered all my other questions. Thank you.
One, thank you for looking at the idea of a shutdown, that sometimes it makes more sense for us not to be open. we socialized that idea a little bit last year, but we weren't in a position,
Okay.
that there wasn't a position to really do the analysis that you're in the process of doing. Thank you.
Can I interject something on that?
Please
thought?
do.
If I was to shut down those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days, right now it looks like about 2,700 and some change in expense. And that's lifeguards, Joanne and Julie, and a person up front.
And savings, you mean?
That's the saving, the labor savings with the
Right,
matching
right.
and all that right there. That's what it would save.
I agree with that.
And I look forward to more detail so that we're making good decisions. I think we would all love to be all things to all people, but we know that that's not possible, and we have to do what's best for the district.
Come walk with me one day.
Oh, I don't doubt it.
I have a commissioner that lap swims. It's always on me.
I heard about that guy. I heard about him. The one other thing I just want to say about the P&L is the progress, the evolution of this P&L. I'm grateful for it. So little certain things where we might be nitpicking feels a lot more refreshing than downright confusion, which is where we used to be. And so it will evolve as our business evolves, and we understand that, but it's in a very different place. And so please heartily thank all who are responsible for that.
Joanne and Julie are the two that do this. So,
And I
help them, but they're the laborers that put it all together.
Their work is evident. For someone who's looked at this now for 2 years, their work is evident and it's appreciated. It makes a ton more sense.
Glad it's working.
And the only other thing that I wanted to, I don't know how we're going to do this at the regular meeting, but I hope this doesn't sound shirking of any responsibilities, in that I hope that we can, if we believe that we will not vote on it tonight, a review process that does not lead us through every single item once again.
You know, when we
Answering the questions.
right, the questions, and when we sit and do the agenda, we can define that together.
Okay.
If that works for you.
Okay.
Okay.
But I agree, I don't want to go through the whole thing again.
Okay.
No,
It's-
it would be the answering the questions and whatever those changes look like, whether it's positive, negative, neutral.
Okay.
It's going to be what it is this year. So but I just, as I'm going through this and I'm watching you guys, I'm like, yeah, I don't think we're ready to vote on this tonight, quite frankly.
And I appreciate that. I not only appreciate that, there are some things that obviously are open questions, and in the past there may have been a different approach towards it, but I appreciate that our buy-in to the best of our ability here, meaning the best of everyone's ability, that this is as close as we're going to get. The other thing is seeing on some of, for example, the expense sides. I recall sitting, I've only done this a few times myself, but some really painful, tense moments where nobody knew how to make the movement that clearly needed to happen. You've done that, and I appreciate that. It makes a huge difference. It just does, and not just for the purposes of this meeting. I think it all around, so it's appreciated.
Thanks. That's it for my part of the presentation. My thanks is for not making me go through both of them together, because it would have been painful. It was sort of painful just doing one, but at least you get to see the guys clean.
Yeah.
And these are two of the guys that were here, other than 3 days of vacation, but it's the only time of the year they get vacation.
Okay, so does anyone have any further discussion on the budget? Just as a reminder, our next meeting is the 22nd of September, and we are open to a motion for adjournment.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
Oh,
Second. What is it?
did you have something to say? I'm sorry, did I go
Well,
too
I
fast for you?
think no, but
Oh.
I think a restatement of what our expectation for the budget is would be not a bad thing.
Okay, sorry, you're right. We are going to look at the budget one more time on the 22nd of September and approve it, or just, we'll look at what changes have been made to it, and we expect to vote on it, hopefully, and approve it, unless it still needs further revision. But I'm
After the
expecting
director
not.
Answers certain questions that we had.
Yes. So let's retract and pretend we didn't have a motion for adjournment on the table before. Make another,
I make a motion, we adjourn.
I second that motion.
it's been motion and seconded that we will adjourn. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Unanimous.
At
Thank you.
9:20
29:24.
I
PM.
told my wife, a week dinner when we come home. Oh my gosh, was that a mistake?